Samsung Galaxy S5 and the new HTC One M8. Definitely two of the hottest Android smartphones right now, and will still dominate for the rest of 2014. So if you're deciding which one you should get, well, after watching this video, hopefully I can help you to decide which one is the best choice for you. The first thing that you're gonna notice is, of course, the build quality. This is the main difference. Of course, the HTC One has an aluminum full body finish on the back, whereas the Samsung Galaxy S5 still maintains the plastic finish just like all the previous Samsung phones. Personally, I do prefer the build quality on the HTC One, the aluminum finish, but a pro for plastic phones is that you can easily take off the back plate and access the battery, so you can swap out and replace the battery if it dies, and you can easily access your micro SD card and your SIM card slot. The M8 has aluminum all around the edges, making it quite slippery when you hold onto it, so it is quite easy to slip out of your hand, and I do plan on getting a case for my M8. Nowadays, pretty much all of the high-end flagship devices have a 1080p HD display. So both are 1080p devices. The Galaxy S5 has a 5.1-inch display, making it 432 pixels per inch. The HTC One has a slightly lower screen size of 5 inches, 441 pixels per inch density. Looking at them side by side, I can tell that the Galaxy S5 has a bit more vibrance, more saturation, and more contrast due to its SuperAMOLED technology. On the other hand, the HTC One features a Super LCD 3 technology. I'm not going to go in detail with the differences between these two display technologies. If you want, you can check out the link in the description to see more information about these two display technologies. But of course, both displays are excellent, and you're not going to be disappointed with either one. The HTC One M8 features a Qualcomm Snapdragon 801, which is quad-core 2.3 GHz, has a GPU of Adreno 330, and the Galaxy S5 has pretty much the same specs compared to the HTC One, but my model is actually the international octa-core version, so it might not be fair in this benchmark comparison, but in my opinion, the specs of devices are not dependent on benchmarks. On the Galaxy S5, I've noticed that I've experienced more lag or frame rate issues compared to the HTC One. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it gets quite annoying. Of course, you are able to play pretty much all of the games in the Google Play Store without any problem. Sometimes you might experience a lag or dropped frame rates if you have a lot of applications in the background, using up a bunch of RAM, but overall everything runs very smoothly and very quick. Both devices are of course high-end, so you would expect these two devices to perform extremely well. Now let's talk about the speakers. Of course, the HTC One has front-facing speakers, and they're the boom sound speakers, and these are probably the best speakers that you can find on any smartphone right now. Comparing it to the Galaxy S5, which are rear-facing, tiny speakers, and you can have a listen yourself and decide which one is better, but of course the clear winner here is the boom sound speakers on the M8. Alright, now let's talk about the battery life. On the HTC One M8, you'll find a 2600 mAh battery, and on the Galaxy S5, you'll find a slightly larger 2800 mAh battery. Keep in mind, on the Galaxy S5, you can easily access the battery on the back because you can remove the back plate, and you can replace or remove your battery if it runs out or dies. From my experience, both devices can easily last through a day with moderate usage, and on the Galaxy S5 it does have quite a bit of nice power saving optimizations. For example, you can enable the power saving mode to give you some more juice, or you can enable the ultra power saving mode to have a few more days of usage. So if you know that you're not going to have a power source, so you can't charge your device for the next few days, you can enable that, and it's just going to give you all the necessary functions on a phone. There are some gimmicky features on the Galaxy S5, for example this heart rate sensor. I'm probably not going to use this very often, but hey, it's a feature and it's there. There's also the fingerprint sensor on the S5. Now it's not as good as the iPhone 5S, but it gets the job done. The only thing I don't like about this fingerprint sensor is that you have to swipe down at a certain angle. So you can't tilt your finger or slide down your finger sideways. You have to swipe straight down to unlock it. Now moving on to the software, of course both are running on Android 4.4 KitKat, which is currently the latest version of Android, but this is more about TouchWiz versus Sense. So the Galaxy S5 has the TouchWiz skin, whereas the HTC One is running on the HTC Sense 6.0 skin. Personally, I'm not a big fan of skins. I generally prefer stock Android, and I usually install a custom launcher after getting a new device. But it's all down to your personal preference if you like TouchWiz or Sense. So because this is running on Android, you can easily customize your device to the way you like. On the right side of the HTC One, you'll find a micro SD card slot. Same thing on the Galaxy S5. Right above the battery, you'll also find a micro SD card slot. So if my internal storage runs out, I can easily slide in a micro SD card up to 128 gigabytes. Something to know that might be quite useful on the Galaxy S5 is that this is actually IP67 waterproof. So they claim that this can last up to 30 minutes under 1 meter of water, but I'm still not going to take my device and swim underwater. If I accidentally dropped it in the water or splashed water on it, it's not going to take any damage. Now let's move on to the camera. On the HTC One, you'll find a 4 ultra-pixel sensor. I've done a camera comparison between the iPhone 5S and the new HTC One M8, and I tested a bunch of different aspects of the camera, including the front, the back, the video, the dual camera feature, and a lot more. So be sure to check out that video if you want to see more test footage on the HTC One M8. The Galaxy S5 has a 16 megapixel camera, which is a lot larger than the 4 ultra-pixel sensor. So here's a picture from the HTC One M8. As you can see, because of the 4 ultra-pixel sensor, when you zoom in, you're not going to get a lot of detail. It's not very sharp. But on the Samsung Galaxy S5, because of the 16 megapixel camera, when you zoom in, you're still going to get a lot of detail, and it looks great. The color looks, in my opinion, better than the HTC One. So here are some videos on the HTC One M8. Actually looks quite nice in my opinion. It is recording in 1080p HD, and let me know what you think of the video quality. And here are some videos on the Samsung Galaxy S5. By the way, this also records in 4K. I did a 4K video comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S5 and the Galaxy Note 3 to see which phone camera records better 4K videos. So be sure to check out that video if you want to see some 4K footage on the Galaxy S5. So after all, for the camera, I would definitely go with the Samsung Galaxy S5. I mean, it does perform very well in low light situations, but I usually take pictures in normal light and in daylight, so it doesn't perform as good as the Samsung Galaxy S5, so I would definitely go with the Galaxy S5 for the camera. So this pretty much concludes my full comparison between the Galaxy S5 and the HTC One M8. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below letting me know which device you prefer. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for future videos, future phone comparisons and reviews. I will see you in my next video.